Good evening, everybody. How we doing out there in Radio Land? Real quick on that.
Mic check, mic check.
I think we're sounding good. I just wanted to get the echo out of my head.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to get the echo. That. Sorry.
Oh, no, see, I don't mind hearing your voice in my head. I just don't want to keep hearing my voice in my head.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of giant frogs right now, so, you know.
You gotta watch out for them. Next thing you go walking through the woods, minding your own business. Next thing you know, they pop out, and you think you're gonna kill them, but no, they kill you, and everybody's upset.
Yes.
Best to stay away from giant frogs.
Yeah, no matter if it's the dice world or anime world. Trust me, I've seen it all.
Yeah, you just stay away from the frogs.
Stay away.
Especially if they're brightly colored, then just screw it. Just run away.
Bright colors are attractive.
Well, bright colors aren't so bad. It's when they start playing 90s grunge music. That's when you really got to be worried.
Now I wonder why that playlist is on my Spotify list now. I think I got to delete it after this podcast. I don't want to be sent to a trap.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, out there on the internet, how's everybody doing tonight? Pretty good, I hope, as aside from us talking about giant frogs in the woods.
Yes. Welcome to the podcast, Scuba and Rye. Deep dive into many things.
Alrighty, so just make sure I got my notes up here. Episode 52. Let's see. Couple of quick announcements to kind of kick this off and start things off, because, you know, gotta have announcements. First and foremost, thank you to Syrinscape for the background music and soundboards that we will be using. I actually managed to find a way to kill the echo in the audio, so it should be good. I also figured out how to make my own soundboard on Syrinscape. If you're got it up there, made one that's just for here on doing this podcast, so not a lot of crazy raptors crawling through the woods and giant bugs. It should be nice and chill, because we're nice and chill.
Should be, but you know, when you're riding the waves with us two, you never know what turns we make.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot of ocean going, so we kind of got to go with the landlocked. But that being said,
mosquitoes aside, you know, they like blood.
Big shout out and a thank you to the community.
Shout out to you guys.
We have, as of last week, we have hit affiliate status. We have finished that last checkbox, so we are going good there. Went through all the setup for that, so that's now a thing. Not sure how to use it. Not sure about, to be honest, I want to push it, but I don't want to push it because I feel if I push it at this point, I'm not going to get the results I want. Because what I want is to grow. If you think I'm worth supporting, support me. If not, give me some feedback and let me know how I'm doing. If all you want to do is hit follow and share with all of our media that we put out, because again, reminder, this does go out as an audio podcast throughout wherever you can find audio podcasts. Spotify, Google Play, Google Play, and the Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
We also put up a version of this on YouTube for a video in case you weren't able to hang out with us and want to see a condensed version. All of that's out there. So if you think we're doing a good job, great. Send feedback, give us follows, all the good things there. Also wanted to point out that because we hit affiliate and because we've had a chance to grow and kind of learn things, the Scuba Studio Discord has been pretty much completely rebuilt. All the roles and permissions to account for the various D&D games and I believe there's a nice framework to start playing D&D on our Discord throughout all of the various cities that my games that I run are at. So they'll be there for developing out and making stories, kind of a West Marches style thing. I'll just let it go. Where's my Discord? Good thing you should ask.
It's somewhere in the interwebs.
If I go !Scuba Studio, it should post right there in the chat all the links to where you can find us.
Oh,
See,
snap.
I'm learning. I'm learning. But yeah, go there, check it out. We even have a set of channels that's just for the podcast where we'll be posting all of the articles we talk about, as well as starting again. I did this a couple times initially, and I didn't maintain it. My fault. But I'm actually going to put out a list of the articles that didn't make it into tonight's show, and there are a lot because I guess with lockdown lifting, everybody wants to do news again.
They want to tell us everything going on in the world.
I know, it's crazy. Also, if you have questions for us, go ahead and put them in the chat. It'd probably be easier so that I could see or I could see if you put question in all caps. That does sound familiar to somebody else. I'm sorry. It's a great idea. Why reinvent the wheel? Just borrow it, copy it, and use it on your car.
That's what I do, I guess.
Alrighty. So those are the major announcements. Check out for Challenge Accepted coming up this Saturday. We do stream and do a live D&D game. So far, it's been a lot of fun. The party wanted to explore the rest of the house before they moved on. So they got through the bottom floor, and now they're about to move up to the second story and go from there. I will say that once we get to a good point in this Saltmarsh arc, we will be shifting gears over to Curse of Strahd and run Curse of Strahd for a while. And I can say that once we get done with Curse of Strahd, we're going to go to Icewind Dale. I'm already collecting stuff for both of those to work on those. Icewind Dale will definitely be more fun, but that'll be closer into the winter. Go figure. But FYI. So, all right. Shall we get into our movie reviews? Oh no, we're supposed to spend fictitious 5 minutes talking about what we've been doing for the last week.
But you know, lots of things happen. Lots of things happen. At least for me. At least I can speak for myself. Don't
keep me in suspense, Rye. What you been up to? What you been up to? I mean, it was your birthday, and there was a bunch of pictures on Facebook of you being in all kinds of places.
Yeah, I kind of do this thing. I get my car and I just go. And that's what I did for my birthday weekend. I got in the car and just go. What's oh, the light.
Let there be light. Oops.
Oops. Brightness. Okay.
Hey, we can see Rye better now.
There's a face here. There's an actual face here. All right. So, like Scuba mentioned, I like to get in the car and go, and especially this weekend, outside of Father's Day, Happy Father's Day to everybody out there that are fathers. But outside of that, it was my birthday weekend. My birthday was Saturday, and I decided to jump in the car and head up to the Bull Rock Cidery that's south of Charlottesville. So went there, got some food, got some drinks, and then hit up a peach orchard and an apple orchard coming back. So I got some peaches, got some apple cider, got some apple pie. Good times.
Impressive.
And other than that, this is my week off from work, so just kind of relaxing and catching up on a lot of other things. So that's pretty much it. You know, traveling around, because that's what I like to do. So hopefully with the things starting to lift more and more coming up, I'll be able to do more of my adventures and tell you peeps about them again.
Get out there and travel.
But yeah, you're welcome to come. I think you would like that cidery. Sit there, relax, drink a bunch of hard ciders. Good times. And if you like distilleries, there's a few distilleries that were along that road going to the cideries. We can go ahead and drop by if you'd like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't really have a spot for any of that stuff, but doesn't mean I can't make a spot.
We can make a spot. With all the wine I have, I make spots. I make spots for everything. That's pretty much it for me. Just kind of relaxing.
Alrighty.
More to come with the rest of the podcast or what I've been up to. What about you, Scuba? Where have you been diving into?
Actually, it's been trying to keep my panic and anxiety down.
Okay.
I've had a few conversations with some people online, and, you know, this is kind of that venue where I could just share my soul, so to speak. Figure it makes me a little more relatable. I'm trying to be genuine. I really am. Hey. But
always good to have an outlet.
Well, I logged into Twitch on Thursday to watch the Players Table on the Realmsmith channel.
Okay.
And I log in and I have this notification. It's like, cool. I click on the notification. It says, you're now eligible for affiliate. And I'm like, holy crap. I wasn't expecting it for months, to be honest, because getting that, because we had hit all the other benchmarks except for the average views per stream was still really low.
Yeah.
We were starting to creep up, but I didn't expect it. All of us, like the data I got from the end of of last week's podcast was telling me, all right, it's not quite there yet. Then all of a sudden, boom, I'm there. And it's like, oh, wow. But then all that other thing is like, oh, now I can possibly do these things. And how can I make these things work? How can I make them engaging and that kind of thing? So I ended up having to reach out to a few sources to be like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Give me seeking out those who've been doing this. And there are a lot of great support groups for helping new streamers and content creators on Twitch to kind of help not fall into some of the pitfalls that could kill your growth. And the last thing I want to do is kill my growth.
Hey, so it's good to reach out to get some, get some advice and help to.
Yeah, so
move it right along.
Get some of the basics out of the way and then kind of go from there. The biggest thing was don't push too hard, too quick. Get your audience continue to grow and leave it up to them. Don't be like, don't want to come across begging or something.
Yeah, you don't want to be standing on the corners I need lights.
I'm just gonna beg for follows. That's probably about it. I'm not gonna beg for any of the other stuff. But if you want to do it,
hey, you want to follow this guy of a rye.
Yeah. And then with that, it was also the Discord channel, which I kind of put together, which was supposed to be kind of a gathering hub. It's like, okay, what am I going to do with this? Because now that you potentially have subscribers, you got to reward them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so Saladin came over on Sunday for Father's Day. He couldn't go visit his stepfather or whatever, and knows I'm a dad and I have 2 kids. So he came over, bought me a pizza, and it may not sound like a whole big deal, but when you're the guy who gives up what he wants to make sure that everybody else can do or get fulfilled, you tend to leave yourself, you tend to not partake in things that you want. So it took him about 20 minutes to convince me that I could order whatever pizza I wanted. Me.
Hey, well, it's Father's Day. You should have the choice, I presume.
But then again, I have some unique tastes, every person. So I ordered a large pizza with instead of tomato sauce, buffalo sauce, 3 cheese blend, chicken, pepperoni, and I believe sausage.
I need this pizza.
And so did that, but while he was over, I was able to soundboard with him and redevelop all of the roles.
Okay.
So there are roles that signify milestone. There are roles that signify just, okay, these are those people who were playing in my games, which was originally when I started the server. Then here are those people that are coming in. And then it's how do I make sure everybody reads the rules and acknowledges the rules and then reward them for acknowledging the rules. Because right now, if you were to visit and join the server, you'd get Studio Fan.
Yeah.
Which is basically your window shopping. You can look, but you can't talk, can't touch. Once you go to the rules and acknowledge the little emoji for the rules, then you become a studio member, and all of a sudden things open up. There are channels that open, there are things that open, and then you can kind of get in and see, chat in the general chat, come to the studio stuff. And then we have some specific roles like contributors and studio staff and things to kind of help with the podcast to contribute, and then taking a look at that and then seeing how to apply it to subscribers to reward them where they could partake. But I'm just going to talk. That's all I'm going to go into on that. I'm still working out the document. I do need a couple. I am looking for a few people that I know who are also moderators on other channels to kind of pen test this setup to find the holes, find the damage, and see what I could do to fix it. I did create a founders group, which is everybody who was in the server prior to me accepting the affiliate status. and then I'll do another milestone later. It's just kind of a, kind of like how Steam is with the badges. I played this game, I get this badge.
Like, boom, here you go.
Yeah,
Kill 3 monsters, get the 3 monster badge.
Yeah,
Delightful.
that kind of thing. But that was mostly it. And then also kind of revamping because the stream on Saturday had some technical issues. Go figure. Not nearly as bad as the week before, but there was still some issues, some stuff to work out. And I think I have a few things. I redid how I was doing some of the stream stuff and tested a few things. So I think I have a way to condense my focus to provide a better, and it should be smoother for this weekend. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Alrighty. Yeah. I think with that, we're ready to start talking about reviews.
Roll it on.
We have for our first review, we have one review this week, and this is one that's gotten some buzz in the news, but not necessarily because of the movie itself, but some of the other things that we've been talking about. So we're going to kick right into it with The King of Staten Island.
King of Staten Island.
All right, Rye, tell us about The King of Staten Island. I have not seen this, so my opinions are going to be based on what I've seen in the news and what I've seen from the trailers.
All right. Well, you'll have to enlighten me on some of that newsworthy stuff later. But for the movie itself, The King of Staten Island is a movie that is written and directed by Judd Apatow. If that name sounds familiar, he's the guy behind The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, Trainwreck, just to name some prominent films out there. But it also, the film stars Pete Davidson. This movie is a little bit different than Apatow's other works, because most of the time when you think of him, he has a strong comedic background. But what you have here is a semi-biographical film that's loosely based on Pete Davidson's life. So what you have is the character of Scott, played by Pete Davidson, and he has hit a crossroads in his life. He's in his mid-20s, and he's been faltering on this unmotivated path in life, and then he hits certain snags where he'll have to find out what is most important in his life. So if you've ever watched a Judd Apatow movie, you know what he likes to do is use a style of direction that focuses on a character level. So in this film, what you have is a mixture of drama and comedy, what I've come to call dramedy. So you get a mixture, a mismatch, but through the lens of the character. So what you have is everything driven by a conversational approach. So there's no typical like story element or focal point of strong themes or strong adventure or strong romance. Everything's focused from the character's perspective. So here you watch Scott, who is dealing with, in the aftermath of his father's death. His father's been dead for a while. His father was a firefighter. So watching Pete Davidson in this film interacting as Scott with all the other characters, what you get to see is a level of humanistic layers where the character is really blunt and sarcastic, and just the way he interacts with his families, his friends, with other people that come in his life, it is kind of abrasive, and he makes you kind of like hate his personality at first. But as the movie moves along, you realize that because of certain things that have happened in his life and him faltering along this path, it's like he's dealing with like a mid-30s, like midlife crisis, but in his 20s, and he just can't figure out where to go in life. And certain things happen which break down his safety net at home, which forces him to face certain things, and it leads to unexpected growth. So once it gets into the latter half of the film, that's where the poignant detail, the Apatow's unique techniques of focusing on character, conversation, and just the wit and charm of everything of past coming forward. You get to see this character and Scott start to kind of evolve into a better person, start to levy out all the flaws that he thought that everybody else has, that he has to see in his own self mirror. And it brings a journey of a person that wasn't motivated at first, that finds some kind of motivation in life because of circumstantial things that happen. So This is more of like a slice of life mixture with the coming of age style film, but through just watching life as that's how I encompass this whole film.
Hmm.
Any questions for me, Scuba?
Um, I guess we'll go way back and
Okay.
tell me two things real quick. What were two really weak points in the film and two really strong points in the film?
Um, I'll just encompass it in just one weak point, and this is something that is very a testament to Apatow's and his writing and directing style. He likes to fill in everything in the film. So the length of time, it does draw out a lot of certain sequences that happen in the film. So you get some like side stories that don't really coincide with the overarching uh, uh, growth of Scott in the film. So there will be like unimportant sequences that happen in film that are just there just to happen, um, but they aren't important to the overall progress of it. So it's the length and just trying to build everything out when it only should be. So I would say that's the weak point is the dryness and the length.
Okay. All right. So, what did you rate this one?
Overall, this is a great character study of an adult in his mid-20s that's dealing with struggles of family tragedy. So overall, I say if you're a big fan of Apatow and you love his approach of comedy drama, it's a great film for you. It's available on demand. I gave it a 4 out of 5, full price. It would be worth it.
Nice, nice.
So what is this thing in the news that
Well,
you were mentioning that I might have missed?
you probably might not have missed it, but it's a good segue to get to talking about it.
Okay.
And that was, we've talked a few times about how the movie theater industry is having kind of a battle with the studio side.
Yes, sir.
Famously, because Universal put Trolls World Tour and then Scoob and then a couple other films straight on video on demand or premiere video on demand
Yeah.
versus airing them in a theater, obviously because of COVID. Uh, the AMC's reaction to it was, well, we're not going to run any Universal property or any of its subsidiaries in our theaters again.
Yeah, Regal jumped on that bandwagon too, so that's two major
So
studios.
they've been having this fight. Well, King of Staten Island sets to come out, and one of the few movie theaters that actually is open that has great social distancing guidelines built into the whole concept
Yep.
is a drive-in theater. There were a number of drive-in theaters that had pre-sold tickets in New York to air this film.
Yeah.
Problem is, after these theaters put out the ticket sales, somebody back at the studio realized that there was that they had committed to this agreement, and then finding out later that no, this was not approved, this is not allowed, this is purely premiere video on demand, there is no theatrical release.
Yeah.
So now you have another instance where theater owners are a little irritated that they can't show a film because, or they had to refund all of these ticket sales or work this out or come up with alternative viewings for that particular showtime. I think a few of them did like back double features and stuff.
Oh,
but
yeah. I think and now I remember I'm reading this and talking about this.
So it's one of those things. It's just like, really?
Yeah, I think to a lesser extent that's just mixed communication between studios and theaters, because from what I remember, from reading those articles about that, this, like you said, this was never supposed to go to theaters. It was straight VOD. So somebody committed to something outside the original agreement. So yeah, but it does put in a testament to how distribution, which we've been talking about for weeks, how things are starting to like not theaters, but studios and smaller studios like the one that put this film out is finding better success through VOD and other channels than they would find in theaters, because this would be considered one of those mid-level films. It's not a big blockbuster, or it's not an animated family film that would, those two juggernauts would bring in money. This is a mid-level comedy coming-of-age style film that, unless you're familiar with either the actor, the director, or his history, you probably would have not gone and seen it. This is generated by buzz, word of mouth, and the indie circuit. So, VOD is probably where this will live, and it gives another avenue for studios to hey, maybe once everything rolls back around, there's going to be levels of agreement where films go to theaters, film goes to VOD, or there'll be a split.
If you want to check this review out, go to ridereviews.com.
Ridereviews.com, people.
Oh, well, hey. If it's a tech issue, it's a good thing, right?
Good. We are live, and we troubleshoot live. Check out all my reviews on rawreviews.com. Got everything up there. If there's a movie you want me to review, let me know.
Yep. By all means, comment. Even give him a shout out in the Discord for a movie review to take a look at, or if he might have already done it and can just post that in there if someone's curious. Like I said, I haven't been able to watch a whole lot of TV. Haven't really seen a lot of movies this past week. As I was saying, I think part of that is my whole anxiety right now. Is I can't sit down to focus on one of those, which is really bad because this past weekend was an event called DnD Live, where they had a lot of really good D&D adventures, a lot of good announcements, which we will get into right now in here for State of Game.
Mm-hmm.
You like that? You like that, huh? Yeah. I know you did. I know you did.
Transition for you.
All right. So, State of Game, the point in the show where we talk about the various games we're affiliated with or playing and kind of how they're progressing. As I was just saying, as far as the D&D side, there was a Wizards put on an event called D&D Live.
Yes.
Really great content. I know it was. Big thing that I was excited about was they announced a new adventure set in the region of Icewind Dale, which is the north side of the Sword Coast. It's near and dear to me because the first set of D&D novels I actually read was the Icewind Dale trilogy. It was published roughly about the time I was born, so it was one of the first book series I got into and just loved it. And now I've got most of all the other ones. Yes, Drizzt. It's all about Drizzt. Unless you're into, Drizzt is great. His story is great. The timeline's great. So I'm definitely going to be running that, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Challenge accepted. We'll be doing a run into Icewind Dale when the book comes out. I already have it pre-ordered. What the? Oh, got a cheer. Okay. New sound in my head. I don't know what it was. What was it?
Hey, it's a good sound.
It's a good sound. It's a good sound.
Scuba.
It's one I never heard before. So all of a sudden it's like, wait, what? So, Homeland series was pretty good. Yeah. So Icewind Dale, I've already gonna prep that and do that. I can't wait. It'll be a definite right up my kind of alley. So stay tuned on that. Like I said, other things State of Game wise is we'll talk about video game stuff first.
Video game.
So I think Rise got an announcement for us. I think he finally finished Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Drum roll, please. Yes, I did. Since I'm off, I decided, heck, why not? I was on the last chapter. Let me go ahead and finish out this game. And it was a little bittersweet finishing off the game because it's been a fun ride since I got the game. I've enjoyed the expanded story, the expanded adventures in Midgard, just getting a fleshed out backstory for a lot of the characters. So, the final chapter, you face off against Whisper, Harbinger, and Sephiroth in different stages. And as hard as that battle was, I can safely say I did not die once fighting both bosses. So that's a good thing. But
yeah, that's cheerworthy right there.
That is cheerworthy because that fight with Sephiroth, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. When y'all get to chapter 18, if you ever play it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But overall, the way it ended, it just makes you yearning for what's to come, and it gives you that like thrill to know that if they can make this much story out of this section of the original game, what are they planning for next? What are they planning for next? And everybody that knows Final Fantasy VII knows that there's a lot more to come. So, hopefully, going to be great. Probably going to come out on the PS5, I guess.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this, as far as a video game that dropped, I can't play it, but I did enjoy it, was The Last of Us Part 2 dropped.
Oh, yes.
And one of the things I like to do is, even though I can't play the game, I'll go to I'll give them a plug just unofficially because I like their content, is Gamer's Little Playground on YouTube. I've talked about it before on the show. They do video game movies. They use relevant gameplay, so it's not just cutscene after cutscene.
Yeah.
But it was an 8. Their whole thing was 4 parts, 8+ hours for all 4 ports, and I was just I was just like, wow, this is. If I were to rate it, I would actually probably rate it a 4 out of 5. There's one element of the story that they kept beating on that really ended up turning me off, and that was the whole constant cycle of revenge. I think kind of right now this is that constantly going after revenge and thing. It's a
typical story trope that just gets too much, and no matter what medium it is.
Yeah.
It's just a go-to when you don't have anything else to write. Revenge. But I don't think I'm gonna pick up that game because I played the original game. I thought it was okay. There's another game I'm waiting for to come out. That's why I was like, heck, let me finish Final Fantasy VII before it comes out. Which is Ghost of Tsushima, which is in a couple weeks. But if we're rating games overall, Final Fantasy VII, I give 4.5 out of 5. Great story, great mechanics, a couple glitches here and there, but that's typical. But other than that, it was a great game. So maybe, finally, I might be able to play that other game. Days Gone.
I'll be eagerly looking forward to hearing about that.
So I'll dabble into it this week. And Phantasy Star Online too. I'm keeping at that game. Starting to open up, starting to enjoy it a little bit more. Kind of like it.
Oh, cool.
Great action RPG. You could just jump right in for a few hours and jump out. Anything else on the D&D side?
Yeah, actually I do have something to discuss.
What are you gonna talk about?
Oh, I'll tell you in just a moment. I'm just making another tweak here.
A
couple of things, because I mean, other than that, it's relatively light on the game front. I kind of told everybody what happened with Challenge Accepted. We did get another new player.
Welcome.
And everybody, it kind of dropped it on them, the whole gonna work in season cycles just to kind of keep things fresh and allow players to rotate. I'm really starting to push on some of the infrastructure for the Curse of Strahd stuff, but I'm also not going to sacrifice the Saltmarsh stuff. So Saltmarsh is going to get to a good stopping point and then kind of roll in there. Did have my no quarter game on Friday, which that went well.
Okay.
For me. Players had fun. But yeah, they got their butts handed to them twice.
Well, you know, I understand wiping out. It has happened.
Well, they were coming out of the dwarven excavation.
Okay.
And they ran into a group of orcs and a half ogre. They managed to kill them all relatively quickly, so I didn't have to use my ringers, which was I beefed up the NPCs just in case, the party was in over their head.
Okay.
But one of the party members was taken out because he managed to put himself right in the center, and it's like, hey, target of opportunity. Tactics. Well, they healed up and then decided to walk back to town. Well, a few sessions earlier, they had crossed paths with the Manticore, and they did not kill the Manticore. The Manticore got away. Well, Manticores are vengeful and spiteful things. So the Manticore went back, got its partner, And the two of them came back, and after a few days of healing and whatever, they were in good condition. So, and they happened to cross the party and attack the party. Now, this party, death is not on the table until level 5 because they're new players and I want them to learn. It's not very fun if they don't learn. So, they all got knocked out. Manticores left them alone. And they have managed to wake up and then make their way back to town to collect the rewards and to get their new stack of quests to start working on. Which now that I've heard about the Icewind Dale book and the weekly encounters leading up to getting to Icewind Dale, there's one in there that's really interesting because it involves a character that's in Lost Mines that is supposed to lose at the end, but now I have to make sure he can't die. But he does lose, but he can't die because he will then reappear in this little side adventure leading up for Icewind Dale, which I plan to use with my players when we get to that Icewind Dale story. So a lot of the weave is starting to get woven here. So it should be interesting. It should be a lot of fun. I hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed.
But like every adventure, there's always sideways.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, that being said, we're going to kick into some new stuff.
Okay.
I've got one bit of gaming news, and that's for all of us who are doing D&D stuff or other tabletop things to do and trying to find ways to do things. Resources can sometimes be a little hard. Now, this was sent to me by Shadster, who's one of the mods here on this server, as well as a couple others. Great guy. We'll talk about that one in a minute. Let's talk about that one. You can go to D&D Beyond, and there's a link for stay at home. It's called Stay at Home, Play at Home, remote, where they have a series of links for free materials from the DM's Guild. DM's Guild, if anyone's not aware, is a kind of a repository for people to publish adventures that they write. There are a few conditions and stipulations with it, but there are a lot of tabletop crafters, a lot of amateur dungeon masters who have written content and modules and put it up there, worked in those things, and a lot of that is donation-based type of thing to support the creators. Well, there's also a series of things that you could download for free to run different adventures. If you're in the Discord, you will get to see this in just a moment. I'm going to do all the things. So check that out. A lot of cool things. It'll be a link in the show notes and the Dooblydoo. I grabbed all of the stuff that was available. It's just I tend to hoard digital stuff for like a library because you never know when you're going to find something that sparks an idea and then you're going to use it and then it's going to be, ooh, this worked out really well.
There's nothing wrong with hoarding the digital.
And I'm sure you can see behind me, I've got quite the library of ideas.
Lots and lots of ideas over there.
Yes. So that was a quick plug for that. Go check it out. Great thing. It's always good to have storytellers and fun. And check that out. Now we're going to get into a bigger news story. And this one will be interesting because it sets the tone for the rest of our stories that we're going to talk about tonight. This hit the wire yesterday. And yeah, it was announced that Microsoft announced that they are shutting down Mixer effective July. This year, a few weeks from now, it's going to be shut off, and they're rolling everybody over to the Facebook gaming platform. So this article came across from The Verge. There's already a link in the Discord channel for this, so we'll post it up again. But it's essentially Phil Spencer went on record and acknowledged that Mixer just can't compete with Twitch. And with the xCloud on its way in, they're looking at, okay, how can we position ourselves better? So the way the article reads, if you're savvy enough and reading between the lines, Facebook came to some agreement, and Facebook basically bought all of the Mixer stuff from Microsoft, and Microsoft just sold it all off and is sending everything over. So there's been a lot of buzz if you follow different streamers, like there was a lot of major streamers who left Twitch and signed contracts for multi-year contracts with Mixer, and now they're being released from those contracts and can see where they go from there. There's a lot of really big ones, and then there's a lot of this other stuff, and they're working on basically whatever your status was on Mixer, you're rolling over onto Facebook Gaming. But Facebook Gaming has its own issues. I looked at it today. I gotta be honest, it really was confusing to try and set up, and I kind of suck as a video game streamer, so I'm not really worried about it personally. Ryan, what do you think on this?
It was an article. When I saw it come across, I was like, bang, I need to send this to you. But also when I read it, I was like, bam, this is big news, because Microsoft and Facebook are big players in the tech world and the online space. And knowing that Microsoft does a lot of stuff on the cloud, along with Facebook and its social media presence, just seeing this partnership come together, it's eye-popping, but at the same time, it helps them to have a foot in the market with not only gamers, streamers, but also reach a wider audience, because Facebook has their hand in everything. So just one quote from this article that makes it seem like it's a partnership for something for years to come. Quote, "When we think about xCloud and the opportunity to unlock gameplay for 2 billion players, we know it's going to be critically important that our services find large audiences, and Facebook clearly gives us that opportunity." And that was from Spencer himself. So it shows a strategic initiative from two parties to have a global reach, but also gives a platform where it's various degrees of growth. And it also, like, there's just different levels and layers, and it just adds to the pot of having that overall connectivity in one central area. That's how I see it, because Microsoft has a huge thing with cloud and gaming community with Xbox, and we all know with what they have on Xbox with Game Pass and Gold and all the other different things. You can find that with Facebook's presence. There's a lot that can happen there.
There is, but then there's also still some shortfalls. The biggest thing, like with the xCloud, and we'll do some more on this as we get closer to launch, because it's tech, and tech is always fun to talk about.
Oh yes.
Is the xCloud it's kind of positioned the same way that the whole Google Stadia was. It's the idea is you stream gameplay to devices and play any kind of game you would play on a console. It's taking it to where the console is less about that's where you sit to play, and more this is where you store and broadcast your game to play. It's very interesting from a tech perspective, in my opinion, but I'm a tech guy, so of course I'm going to be interested in this stuff. The other thing is Facebook's algorithm as far as audience building. It's nice because all of your friends will immediately be bombarded with when you go streaming. So you kind of have the audience built in based on how robust your friends list is. But I think the real sleeping giant in the room is YouTube. Because there are several people who've commented on this, and if you sit there and start thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. YouTube's algorithms for exposure for what you're doing is getting better, and if YouTube actually wholeheartedly went in and said, you know what, we're going to cater to streamers, that's it, that's done, that's Pompeii all over again. The whole landscape is gone, because YouTube's algorithms blow everybody else out of the water, and if they were applied in that direction, that's it. That's all she wrote, man. Done.
It's just a matter. It puts sleeping giants head to head, which will actually with all the different scenarios, it could be a boon or bust for the game.
Yeah. So those are those two major things, and then we're going to get into our odds and ends, and we got quite a bit of odds and ends to talk about, and all of them have to do with this theme that we're seeing with this whole Mixer shutting down and rolling everybody over to Facebook Gaming, which are two fairly different platforms entirely.
Yeah.
And kind of rolling over this. So all of these articles are kind of following that theme, but some of them are just going to make you scratch your head. At least they made me scratch my head as I was reading it.
Oh yeah, you know, that's what Rye Guy's good, finding those odds and eyebrow raisers. And I find some sometimes, and then definitely
You find some, it's just, oh my gosh. And now we get into the odds and ends. We have got a lot to go through for odds and ends. Some of them are going to be really fun. Hope you enjoy. Yep. Alrighty, so, and I got some new surprises for you. So, yeah, you know, I'm working on this. I now have, you know, have room for feedback. Room. So, let's start off with our first story. Wait for it. All right. So, Vans has teamed up with National Geographic to launch a line of fashion items. These are limited edition items, all kind of catering into that whole thing with the National Geographic's been around forever, and then now Vans is trying to do this. The pictures tell the story, especially the one with the shoes that is made up of the various covers of National Geographic. So,
oh yes.
Rye, tossing it over to you. What are your thoughts, sir?
My thoughts is that this is predicated to the Vans community. Vans is known for making a lot of different variations of their shoes, where they're partnered with Tony Hawk, Nightmare Before Christmas, Harry Potter. You can go down the list, and this is just another awesome down the list, and would be on my collections if I still bought Vans. But hey, anybody want to get them, go to Vans.com. They've got a different variations of them. I'm gonna get them. Article altpress.com.
Yes. All right. Here's our next one. This is YouTube a while back had this crazy idea about trying to make shows for their streaming service. They're trying to do like YouTube Red, which was supposed to be a conglomeration of YouTube produced content through a paid version of YouTube. Sounds great. However, if you started out as free, asking people to pay kind of gets a little hard. And that's really what happened here. What we have here is an image from the Cobra Kai show, which was supposed to be a sequel to the classic Karate Kid franchise, with this guy restarting his dojo again. I only know bits and pieces of it. I never actually sat down to watch it, but I might with this announcement because Cobra Kai is being moved from YouTube to Netflix.
Boom.
Now, that's your cue, Rye.
All right. So the article on ScreenRush.com, basically, it's a YouTube is moving from their subscription model to an ad support platform, and with all their original content not making waves like they should. The first two seasons of Cobra Kai will be on later this year on Netflix, and Netflix will pick up the bill for the third season. So it's an interesting move, but a big move, and another boon for Netflix to get another what you call saving grace, where they do a lot of these things where a show gets canceled or it's not going to get picked up, and they pick it up and let it go. So, another plus for Netflix, another series I look forward to watching because I didn't get to watch the first two seasons. And being a fan of the original Karate Kid, I'm just a fan of this one.
Yeah, I found those. I remember some of the trailers for it. I just had to chuckle because this is that same guy from the movie. And it's like, okay. So, seeing how that goes. But yeah, I may check it out one night for seeing what's up. Our next item is, speaking of Netflix and Ron Howard, did anybody remember a while back Ron Howard did this competition for submissions? I think it was photos or videos that he was going to use them in a project.
Oh yeah, I heard about it through the interwebs.
It's been a while, you know, some of us might have remembered those days. Well, Opie here has done it again, and this time he wants to take your script that you write and turn it into a show or a movie on Netflix.
Oh yes, he wants you.
This is right up your alley, Rye, because you're studying screenwriting. Here you go.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna have to put Ron Howard on my speed dial, but until then, ScreenRant.com, the article, check it out. Ron Howard and Brian Fraser have teamed up teamed up with Netflix so they can create a place for these screenwriters called Imagine Impact. Currently, it's going to be 3 genres will be announced July, September, and November, respectively. Quote, writers who want to throw their creative hats in the ring can apply by clicking from the article. So it gives an avenue for, you know, up-and-coming screenwriters to, you know, put their name out there, get their name attached to some big honchos in the movie business, but also just being able to put your stuff on Netflix just gives you a wide variety of reach. So I think it's an excellent way for, you know, up and coming writers to get.
You're cutting out a little bit. Might have to check your battery here next time. All right, story number 4. Oh, that was story number 4. No, that's story number 4. Hey, you remember a while back, not too long ago, HBO Max came out and they had all of the films from Studio Ghibli?
Yes,
and we talked about what should be the first film from Studio Ghibli I should watch. Well, here's their latest, their first CGI film.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right, tell me about it.
As reported on Anime News Network, Ghibli has just unveiled their first CGI film called Earring and the Witch, based on the novel of the same name. So this is their first venture into the CGI. They've known for great 2D films like the one we reviewed, Howl's Moving Castle, a few weeks back. It's definitely going to be an eye popper, and it is definitely going to see their creative bliss expand into new horizons for Studio Ghibli. And it'll either going to do one or two things. It's either going to lead them down the path like Pixar and Disney, or just give them another avenue to create new content.
Never know. It's worth checking it out. So we're just rolling right through these.
Boom shakalaka.
See what's our next one?
Something about pizza.
No. Oh. Should be. Is it pizza? Oh, it is pizza. Sorry, got a little head there. But then again, looking at this pizza and thinking about that this is a pizza made of ramen.
Yes. Ramen pizza.
I'm sure my son Top Shelf will just go gaga over this. Me, I'm holding judgment. But you're the foodie, Rye. Tell me about this food.
I love food, and as reported on the article on Kotaku, this is a quote, a collaboration between Japanese ramen restaurant Menya Musashi and Pizza Hut, and the result is ramen slice of pork, spring onions, and half an egg on a pizza. And based on those pictures, oh boy, I am going to Taiwan tomorrow.
Really? Really?
I love me some ramen, and putting ramen on pizza, and I love pizza. It sounds good.
No, I'm gonna go with a couple of people in chat, and I'm gonna go pass.
Y'all just don't know how to get good food, people. You gotta try, expand your horizons. I have brought you to some amazing places.
You're right.
Remember that.
Oh,
so.
Well, if I guess maybe I'm thinking ramen, I'm thinking the Americanized wax-covered stuff. Maybe if it's real, legit ramen, it might be worth trying.
Oh yeah, and being that they're teaming up with an authentic ramen place from Japan, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that comment. I'm going to agree with that comment. The comment was, pizza should not involve the whole twirling motion. Oh, Too much fun. Too much fun. Speaking, oh, let's get back to talking about tech stuff.
All right, let's swing around on them noodles.
Got food. Let's talk tech.
Tech.
Way back when, about the time the PlayStation 2 was out, there was this thing called the PlayStation PocketStation. It was basically something you can plug in, like a memory card plug in. It had a little LCD screen on it. So you essentially could play your PlayStation without it connected to a TV. I think we've seen where this kind of can go and where this evolved into from there. But the tech is still pretty useful, and some enterprising person figured a way to put it as a part of a backpack. Take it away, Rye.
Well, as another article from Kotaku, they have Twitter user Yoshidio created this PocketStation backpack. It's not working or playable, but it does feature the white Sony Cat Koro from Doki Domeo Isojo. And you check out the picture right there, you can see it looks lovable, playable, and it might be my next random purchase on Amazon, like that Kirby pillow.
You know, I saw this. The first thing I was thinking was a Tamagotchi.
Oh yes, the good old days of watching my pets die.
Alrighty. I see that one's just right there.
Yeah, it's skadoosh.
That was 6. So yeah, I'll turn that off. I'm gonna set this one up.
Okay.
I gotta set this up because, you know, a lot of us drive, a lot of us buy cars and have gotten cars that we like, or they think they're a sign of our status. And sometimes we don't think about little things like how to carry things home when we buy a car that has a small trunk and we want to take something big home. How many times have we seen somebody take the big 80-inch TV out of the box thinking they could get it better fitted in a little hatchback?
I don't know. You tell me.
All right, well, and then it's like thinking, oh, it doesn't fit. Well, maybe I should put it on a trailer.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Oh, that's a good idea, but what if your car doesn't have a trailer hitch and you don't have a trailer?
Well, I guess you have to make something to get it from point A to point B, right?
Well, if you're this guy,
gotta be that guy.
It's gotta be that guy.
Gotta be that guy.
Gotta be that guy. This is a guy driving a Porsche trying to take home a hot tub. And what a hot mess that trailer is.
Yes, this is an article reported by a local affiliate, Wavy, and it was from Woodstock, Ontario. Quote, Woodstock Police Service officials said they responded around 1:30 p.m. after receiving multiple calls about a vehicle pulling a hot tub behind it. Officers caught up with the overburdened sports car on the western outskirts of Woodstock, Ontario, and pulled over the 54-year-old male driver. End quotes. No words can describe exactly what kind of makeshift thing-majigger that is, but hey, there's a will, there's a way. And this driver found a way to get his hot tub home, or partially home, before he got pulled over.
Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to appreciate the engineering here.
I appreciate it.
I'm looking at this, and I can see a dolly. One of those ones that converts from 2 wheels to 4 wheels. It looks like it's that with plywood and 2x4. And no kidding, there is the string or twine trying to hold all this together.
There's a lot of different tickets that he could have got, but he was charged with careless driving. So whatever that kind of fine is in Canada, you know, more power to you.
Yes, that is a dolly. That is straight up a hand truck. I gotta appreciate that.
I appreciate the effort, but you know, you're never gonna live that down. It's on your record. Remember that guy.
Yeah.
But Wavy didn't just give us one article, but it gave us 2.
Here's a good one. Now here is the proper way to move a vehicle or move something. Uh, Way back in the 90s, for some who may not remember, there was a little film called Into the Wild, which was talking about an individual from Virginia who traveled up to Alaska. And there was a bus out in Alaska that is famous because of the story and this film. And unfortunately, the poor guy did pass away of starvation.
Yes.
But his legend lived on, and it became kind of a thing for people to go out and try to find this bus. Well, the local government in this area of Alaska had finally decided they had had enough and voted unanimously to move the bus. Now, the local National Guard unit had to do some training and offered to move the bus at no charge to anyone. And it is currently in a secure location. There are some items in there that do belong to the family of the individual who made this story famous. And they're waiting to decide what to do with the bus. But the overall consensus, especially with all of this stuff going on and trying to get people help they need, where this bus was, there was no cell service. It was, if you went there at the wrong time of year, you were trapped there. And so it was a matter of public safety.
Yeah, and it's definitely it popularized the book and the movie of the same name. I have seen the movie; it's a good movie. Check it out. But it is something that is encouraging that they did remove it because they want people to experience the wild and the forest and enjoy the nature, but they don't want to lead people astray and then be stranded and have to constantly go out and try to save them, possibly.
And the thing is, it's costly. When you look at having to run rescue ops, especially in Alaska, it gets costly. And too many people have died from exposure out there or tried to go through this. So it was interesting that these events occurred in like the early 90s.
Yeah.
And here we are 30 years later. And we're having this conversation about moving the bus.
Oh yeah, but I think it happened. Yeah, it happened because of a rescue that happened earlier this year of 5 Italian tourists and death last year of a woman from Belarus. So
Yes.
it intensified the move of the bus. But the bus has been out there since the 1960s.
Yes, it was actually moved out there as kind of a retreat for some local hunters back in the 60s. So
yeah, but it's good that they moved.
I think it's cool. It's a nice little bit of American urban history, I guess you could say. And I will have to check the movie out. I've heard great things about it. I just haven't actually sat down to watch it yet.
It's a really good movie. I would recommend checking it out.
Alrighty. We're almost to the end, guys.
Another article from our local affiliate.
Yes.
3 booms. Doom.
This one is nice for those of us who have kids who graduated high school this year amidst the pandemic.
Yes.
We realized that schools shut down everything in their dog. I mean, sporting events, testing events, all of that. Well, one of the major tests we all remember as high school students was the SATs and the ACTs.
Yes,
Some of us have like forgotten about that wholeheartedly. I couldn't even tell you.
I didn't score very well on my SATs. I will just put it out there. I'm not going to lie about it.
I'll be honest, every time I think of SATs, I think about, I think it was a line from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Where he just kind of slept in, didn't really care, and wound up acing both sides. And just freaked out. A couple of the people are like, how could you not take this seriously? It's like, sorry.
Yeah, that's how it works.
How it is. So, yep. Yeah, well, here's the cool thing. If you are a senior who graduated this year and did not get to take your SATs, Harvard, that's right, Harvard, has announced that they have waived the SAT requirement for new students for the next term.
Yes, and it's another, like reported on Wavy, the SAT and SAT scores have been waived for not required for applicants submitted for 2021. And quote from a statement from the school, we understand that the COVID-19 pandemic has created insurmountable challenges in scheduled testing for all students, particularly those from modest economic backgrounds, and we believe this temporary change addresses the challenges, end quotes. I think it's actually a big, I think this is a big move and and a good way of, for a major institution to be like, you know what, these scores are relevant, but aren't always prudent on getting accepted to colleges. And being someone who's gone through the process a few times already, having a levied on certain tests will help applicants, will help bring in the students and have them apply across the board. I had a interesting conversation with somebody saying that they considered it weighing down the process, but I had to bring to light is that even though they have removed this requirement, that is not the only requirement used to accept or reject applicants into a program.
Actually, I think it's really kind of funny that you had that conversation, because from what I have seen, and this is my 2 cents. Oh, you lost the video?
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Yes, my thought on this is like the SAT scores are one thing, but if you look at the trend over the last 10 or 15 years as far as college, you've noticed that there have been a lot of people who've had to take a lot of remedial courses because they didn't have the quote-unquote basic knowledge that they needed for what is considered college-level classes.
Yeah.
So waiving the SAT really doesn't make a lot of sense to me as far as why this isn't being done already, when you have students, a portion of these students do the standardized testing at the high school level, who don't have a wide enough a range of knowledge. Now, again, this is just from what I've seen and kind of my 2 cents, but I didn't put a lot of stock in the SATs because I went military.
Yeah.
So my SATs mattered nothing by the time I left the military and went to college.
Same for me, albeit minus the military thing, is I had my associates when I went and reapplied to get my bachelor's. SATs meant nothing. And also, you can't always judge based off the test, because like I mentioned earlier, I did not do very well in my SATs, but yet I graduated top of my class 2 different times. Well, 3 different times. And what I come to understand is like these tests isn't a really gauge of what people actually understand or what they came out of wherever they came from their own education. And like you said, from my experience going through college a second time and going to go through it a third time, basic comprehension is something that you get to see a wide variety of people that don't and people that do. And people that don't have that comprehension is going to struggle, depending on if it's college, trade school, tech school, any kind of schooling, if they don't have that basic comprehension. And tests, waiving these will allow the people that are looking at these applicants to judge them more fairly and more thoroughly without having that high score placed against their record.
Ready for our last story?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's go.
We talked about the Ramen Pizza, how that was kind of a collaboration to make this. How about a collaboration that's a little more fun to look at?
Yes. What do we got there?
What I've got here is a collaboration between KFC and Animal Crossing Horizons.
Uh-oh. You got some chicken in the virtual world.
This is in the Philippines, so Rye.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, I know you're poking the lumpia there. So
I'm just saying, this is where this is located. A KFC in the Philippines has partnered with Nintendo to make a KFC island.
I love it.
That you could go and check out.
Oh yeah, I definitely will check it out. So
if you go to the island and you find the Colonel on the island, you will get a coupon that you can then claim for a bucket of chicken.
That is just awesome on so many levels, and as reported on the article on Kotaku, as Ungeek via Go Nintendo and WonderSun notes, the KFC Philippines official Animal Crossing Island docs an amazing job of recreating the Kentucky Fried Chicken experience in New Horizons. So you got a full-fledged restaurant there that looks like you're walking in to go get a bucket of chicken down the road.
Yeah. It looks amazing.
And is KFC open right now?
No.
Dang it. Going there
No.
tomorrow then.
Sorry.
Anybody else want a bucket of chicken? Any people out there in the chat? I'll throw in a couple dollars for y'all. Alright, more for me.
That's fair. I thought this is a nice one to end on because it's really just kind of cute and funny, and again shows the creativity of people. And the thing is, this also kind of reminds me of back in the early 2000s, Second Life. Right? Bear with me.
I know about Second Life.
Second Life, when it was in, everybody thought it was just so cool. I mean, it still exists in some capacity now. It's not dead. But I remember when Second Life was getting its big push and everybody was all about the currency conversion and all of that, that a lot of businesses started to build storefronts in Second Life, and you could actually interact and order a car or whatever through there. It was a lot of interesting integration.
Yes.
So when I saw this article, that's the first thing I'm remembering is, but I think this is done a little bit better because, you know, it's a little more family friendly than Second Life was, because let's be real. Second Life was not 100% family friendly.
No comments. But this just, speaking of the creativity, this just sparks even more interest in how collaborative and how expansive the Animal Crossing game is. This just adds on top of all the other fun little things that we've been talking about this game throughout the last few podcasts, including the Danny DeVito Island. That one's just
The Danny DeVito Island, the Spirited Away island. I mean, it's a lot of interesting stuff. So, but
new way to explore the world, a whole new world.
But yeah, those are the odds and ends, and because they're odd and just random things on the internet, we just give our quick opinions and peruse through the articles. Rye is the one who does a lot of sending me these articles to peruse through for the show. If you're following the show and want to contribute, there are ways to contribute articles via follow me on Twitter or follow the studio on Twitter or Instagram. Shoot the stories that way. Reaching out through via the Discord and sharing the stories. It's always great to have varying opinions, and it's better as far as interacting with the audience. It's like, this is what you want to talk about, so we'll talk about what you want to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk about what we talk about, but, you know, collaboration, you know. So with that, I think that's pretty much it as far as the notes. Let me double check. Is there anything I missed? No. Again, thank you for Syrinscape. Thank you to the community. And now we're going to just take a few minutes and kind of just see if there's any questions, comments from the community in chat on what we talked about, or if there's anything that really kind of want to revisit.
There's a good conversation going on about our talk about college and the unpreparedness of individuals from high school. And Mr. Chellis has been making very valid points, which I have seen personally when I went back to college the second time. So just sitting in one of my sitting in my U.S. history class the first semester back, you can notice the difference between people fresh out of high school and people of my age, or, you know, of a different, you know, coming from the military, coming from, you know, different parts of life, where they were focused, ready, knew how to work independent, where these high schoolers were so stringent on just giving information and regurgitating that they didn't know how to do the work.
Oh, yeah, that and again, you got to look at the whole thing with as far as when you look at college, it's like they charge so much money. But so many things on the talking about how, like, 40 years ago, when you go for college, it didn't cost as much as it does now. I think it could argue that it was a third of what you pay now. Going to college now is just so expensive, and part of it, I think, is lack of preparation of the students going in straight from high school. They don't know enough. Yes, they passed all of the tests, and
did you mean high school or college there?
High school into college.
Okay.
High school exit exams, the whole SOL stuff.
Yeah.
And then going into college, and it seems like there's an information gap. The other thing, which, not to get too far down the rail on this one, is the fact that all of the subsidies to college, and they just took it, it's like, we're going to charge more because we can get these subsidies. I mean, there was a TED Talk I watched a few years ago. I'll see if I can try and find it and post it somewhere, but the thing that struck me the most about that TED Talk is the guy talking about it actually sat there and asked you, all right, look at college, look at choosing your classes like you would any other consumer-based purchase. What is the value I'm going to get out of this class, and should I then pay for it? Instead of, oh, well, you need this. Why do I need underwater basket weaving? It's an elective. Okay, but you're gonna charge me you're gonna charge me $1,000 credit hour for a 3 credit hour course on underwater basket weaving just so I can fill an elective. It's an example out there.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. Yeah, it's a very
Because I'm named Scuba. Are you trying to say?
He's telling that you like to dive headfirst into the water. Skadoosh.
That's an old joke from back to when I was doing Boy Scouts. It's like there's a merit, the whole thing, but there's an app for that. It was a merit badge for that. Underwater basket weaving merit badge if you wanted to be that person who had them all. But it's a great joke, and it actually is a course somewhere. I'm sure it is.
Probably is. We'll just venture out into the interwebs and find it.
But the point is like, why do a course if you're not going to get any value out of it? Instead of, oh, well, let's just blanket charge. I think and I kind of agree with the whole supposition that if you sit there and start looking at it as, if I take this course, I'm going to get a value out of it, and I pay based on that value. It's very consumer based, which is not something you see. Instead of this just.
Yeah, like yeah, college is a mixed bag of, you do learn a lot of relative things, and they're dependent on what course of action you're going, what path of you're going down. But also it reveals a lot of flaws, and college isn't for everybody, and it's very adamant, very prudent for just people that are pushed to go to it and just don't succeed. But nowadays there's a lot of different avenues. Well, there was always been a lot of different avenues. Now, the problem is society sat there and said, hey, you've got to go to college. You've got to go to college. You've got to go to college. Not every job requires a college degree. Oh, yeah. Heritage also plays into a lot of that, depending on what your background is.
And then also things like dirty jobs.
Yeah.
Trade schools, exactly. I'm trained in trade as well as electronics, or not. I've spent years in the IT industry doing tech support, and my last job was configuration management. Prior to that, growing up, I'm a 3rd generation carpenter.
Yep.
My grandfather did it. My father did it. He taught me to do it. My dad was over not too long ago. We were actually kind of just talking about this. Is like, my first job was working for him doing home renovation. I can tear down and rebuild a house, as well as tear down and rebuild a computer.
Yeah.
Great skills to have. But nobody's really pushing trade schools and learning the dirty jobs. I mean, love them or hate them, Mike Rowe really caught on to something with the whole, hey, there are jobs that college is not for, and there are jobs that need to happen, and at college, it's like, if everybody goes to college, nobody knows how to do these jobs. And I worked trade for a number of years when I got out of the military and came back to this area. I was doing interior carpentry, and we were seeing a shift in the labor force, and there was less young people coming into the trade. Electrician, plumber, HVAC, carpenter, framer. That's drying up. And all the jobs are going elsewhere, but there's not a big push to learn it anymore.
Yeah, I think it just needs to create an overall incentive for them across the board. It'll help, but it all predicates on choices, who's pushing you from behind, and where you want to end up.
Yeah.
So, but I do agree with your going back is the one thing that I noticed is that why am I paying for a class that I don't really like? And I noticed that at least 3 different times finishing my bachelor's.
College job is great. Trade job would, in a lot of cases, will definitely pay you a lot more than a quote unquote college job.
I would put brakes on money thing, because sometimes it's not about the money. At least for me, it's about finding your place in life. So with me going to grad school, getting my master's degree, there's a particular reason, which I've mentioned a podcast ago. So, but that is a good thing. Some people go to school for money. Some people go for a specific thing. Some people do it because of a generational. So it's just a matter of your choice.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And if you make the right connections, you can definitely have a lot of growth. Seeing that with doing this, I don't think I'd be nearly as far as I am if I didn't start reaching out via Discord and on other channels to make connections and network. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think we got much else.
That was a good conversation. I enjoyed it. Thank you,
I always love having good conversations.
Good chats. Good chats.
All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and start doing our contact info. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Kind of roll over to our contact. So, all right. Awesome. We'll chat on Discord and see if we can't set up a time for that. But here's our contact info, where you can find us, follow us, all of that for the various studio things. Some of the personal stuff is also connected with that to view. And reach out, follow us, continue the conversation offline, help us grow. If you're new to the stream and you like what you're doing, like what we're doing, please hit a follow. That way, and the bell, so you're notified when we come back on. We do have a stream on Saturday nights. That is Challenge Accepted. That is a live D&D game that I dungeon master with the wonderful support of my players. If I don't have players, I don't get to do what I do, and I love working with players to tell a story. Again, we do this every Tuesday night.
Yes.
You can check out all of our other things as we get more as I get more videos made and out. I will get them out. So with that, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for downloading. All of that. You guys stay safe. Have a good night, and we will see you on our next one.
Peace.